Football, bitches. Yes, yes, ladies and gentlemen, if there's one sport that I love, and I love damn near pretty much any sport that has a Houston team affiliated to it, even if it brings immense pain. But I love football, all right? I fucking played it for one season in middle school in the C team. I was ass. But nevertheless, I fucking love football. I played Pee-wee contact football. I forgot about that, but I mean, does that really count? Anyways, the point being, goddammit, I really love the sport of football, and I love being a football fan. Okay? It's a game that requires grit, skill, and as I've gotten older, I've actually appreciated playmaking more. Primarily because if the shirt on my chest does indicate it, I've seen what happens when the shittiest plays are made, and the outcomes are the exact same every damn season. But this isn't time to talk about the Houston Texans, damn it. This is actually time to talk about the movie Him. Okay? First of all, it's not directed by Jordan Peele. He's a producer. He's putting his name on it. And Justin Tipping, if I'm not mistaken, and I'll correct it in the editing, that's who's directing this. And from viewing other videos in which he's talked about the film, I kind of see why Jordan Peele's name is put all over it, because it's giving the vibes of me in chemistry class. I was god-awful, but I knew I could talk, so whenever we had to do a presentation, I would just talk while the rest of the crew did the work, and it was social people, antisocial people, and I was able to take advantage and secure a good grade. C's get degrees, bitches. Today I'm going to do something special. Rather than just a standard review, I'm going to actually give y'all an audio perspective and review this film as if it was a football game and you're hearing it on local radio. So at any time, you're going to be interrupted by a picture of me wearing a football helmet with audio from the makeshift football game between my enjoyment of this film versus the actual performance the film gave me. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome you to Mental Stadium as we review the film Him. My name is Gekter Huzman, and I'm here alongside with my co-broadcaster H.J.G. as we are here to discuss the film in the perspective of a football game inside the mind of one the H.E.C., who is the host of this video of the South Sibs. And you sure are right, Gekter, as we have a heavy game here before. Him has to face the H.E.C.'s expectations and the H.E.C.'s enjoyment of the film, and it's very rough, but there are some advantages that Him has, okay? This movie is coming out on September 19th, which means it is a few days after the H.E.C.'s birthday, and the H.E.C. is a narcissistic son of a bitch, so I feel like that will help him in this film and to actually make a good impression on the H.E.C. Not to mention, the movie theater ticket was fairly cheap considering the fact that he is currently in bumfuck Texas, and also the popcorn itself was low. So it's cheap, it's his birthday, and it's football, one of his favorite sports. Plenty of advantages. I don't see how this film could fumble the ball, but it is meeting the H.E.C. Yes, and because it is meeting the H.E.C., the standards might be different than most. You see, the H.E.C. is watching this as a filmmaker. Granted, they're independent films, but he's still watching it as a filmmaker, he's watching it as a sports fan, and he's watching it as a football fan, and it is also a movie that, as we stated, is coming out around the same time as his birthday. That being said, who's to say he's not going to be harsher, expecting that a film coming around the time of September 17th needs to meet a higher standard? But nevertheless, the advantages are in play for this film. It has Marlon Wayans, a beloved actor in the H.E.C.'s mind, given his performances in Scary Movie and A Haunted House. So who knows how this is going to go. I'm hoping for the best, and frankly, I think that a beautiful game is going to be played for us today. Oh, no doubt about it. I'm just hoping that the H.E.C. can see this film for what it is and hopefully give it the appropriate rating for the masses to go off of. Granted, the H.E.C. is not God, and he can't tell you what you should and shouldn't watch. All he can do is give his perspective on film, so let's hope that that goes into outside play and is appreciated by the audience of both the film and this video. Now, back to the H.E.C. outside of Mental Stadium. Let's get into it. Okay, so as somebody who decided to listen to the Marlon Wayans interview on The Breakfast Club before watching the film, this film kind of gets spoiled in that interview. And what the fuck? The interview came out on Friday. Actually, that's a lie. The interview came out on Wednesday, September 17th, because that's my goddamn birthday. Anyways, point is, the review came out before the film came out, so why would y'all spoil details of it? But because of that, I could say that my expectations were kind of set already on the type of film, because if you're going in from the outskirts based on what the trailer was edited, you probably thought that this was a horror movie and CTE is the main villain of the film. It's not. It's Marlon Wayans, but there's more. Anyways, Marlon Wayans plays Isaiah White, the greatest quarterback of all time with 8 championship wins, and he brought a dynasty to San Antonio, which is fucking ridiculous. Ain't no goddamn dynasties in San Antonio. All right, but yeah, so that's where the film starts off, and he's got a young, more or less, player, and the player suffers a head injury, questions the quality of a player that he is, start to follow him around, start to bug him, start to haunt him. So Isaiah White, Marlon Wayans, takes it above himself to have him come to what he calls a week training. Not weak, W-E-A-K, but weak as in W-E-E-K. Save that for later, because it's going to come back in the end with some questions that I had about it. That being said, throughout the entirety of the film, it's training, but unorthodox training, crazy methods, hyperbolic demonstrations of a lesson, more or less. And in a weird way, it's the perfect analogy for the film that it's in, and I've just realized that in talking to y'all in real time. All right, giving a first quarter update. So far, the film Him has been moving the chains, going along pretty steadily. Nothing too phenomenal at the moment. After all, this is only the first quarter, but unfortunately, the defense and the criticisms already are putting up a strong wall, and so far this film hasn't been able to make a touchdown, but it has been able to move the chains on a consistent basis, take advantage of whenever it does get the ball, and so far we're looking at a 6-3 score. It's putting up a good defense from its criticism so far, so it is 2 field goals from the movie Him, and when it comes to the H.E.C's criticism and negativity of the film so far, it's only been able to get a field goal. So Him's looking like a slow and steady start, but if it keeps going at the pace that it's going, it will be a phenomenal first quarter. Yeah, so far everything's looking solid. Nothing's necessarily looking too bad or concerning. Yeah, I don't think this film's going to have a hard time. It looks like it's got its basics down. It looks like its team has a smooth groove, and I feel like if the film is moving at the same pace and going down the field how it is now, this could be actually a good game and a winning game for the movie Him. With only 5 seconds left in the first quarter, it looks like Him is winning this quarter with approximately 6 points, and the H.E.C's criticism with only 3. So let's hope that this movie can carry that momentum and have a dominant second quarter and end off with a great first half. Tyreek Withers, who I just found out as I Googled him, is only 1 year older than me. I'm not doing shit with my life. Anyways, Tyreek Withers plays Cam, who is the rookie. Now, I want to say this, and I know I'm interrupting myself. A lot of critiques go into why this kid is doing this, but it's to be understood that even though this guy is only a year older than myself, they say that he's just entering the league, and they don't mention that he's coming from a college. The only highlight of him they talk about is his championship throw against State, which leads me to believe this is not a college player. This is a high school player, which, while some people would just say, well, that's not, I mean, an 18-year-old would still know the difference between right and wrong. 18-year-olds have a very malleable brain. I know this because I used to be one, and now I'm dealing with my younger brother who is also one. That being said, again, you're being trained by a player who's considered the greatest of all time with 8 championship rings. Okay, so take that for what you will. Let's be honest. As a sports fan, thinking about it, you probably would go along with a certain amount of stuff. Now, as the film continues, things get a little bit weird, things get a little bit more unorthodox, and things do get strange, but that is part of the element, and that is part of the lessons. And in part of the lessons, I feel like when the film blatantly tells you and shows you, it kind of looks rocky for the overall enjoyment of the film. But y'all know how I do things. Y'all know how I do things. Because I just messed up that sentence. But I'm not going to correct myself for you guys. No.
All right, well, I'm coming back from the second half. It's the end of the second half. We're at halftime right now, and unfortunately, it looks like the movie Him has stumbled and made some mistakes. It has allowed crucial third downs to fall in the opposition's favor. The opposition, of course, being the H.E.C's review of this film so far. Now, Him has put up a good defense. It hasn't allowed much, but one crucial mistake it has made is it is now questioning the H.E.C's logic in regards to the film. It is making the H.E.C. question logic, shall I say. And when the H.E.C. questions logic on either a film, a television show, or anything of that nature, Lord knows it's lethal for whatever the opponent he's facing. It's almost the reason why he hasn't been able to watch any and enjoy it. That being said, though, as we go and more or less give you a rundown of what happened, I'll say the score right now is Him with 9 points and the H.E.C. with 10.
Well, yes, as we heard from the HJG, it appears that Him thought that it could hold off the H.E.C. with its advantages that it had at the beginning of the game, but unfortunately those advantages are starting to wear off. The popcorn has been consumed, the soda has been drank, and the urge to piss is slowly creeping in. That being said, though, the performances are doing solid. However, not good enough to blow him away or give him a story that he's really impressed by. So his logic is already questioning the flaws of the film, and his logic questioning the flaws of the film, especially with something that happened in the midway point, has now allowed a beautiful 30-yard touchdown pass, and that was the more or less big strike that the H.E.C. needed in regards to his criticism of the film. He is up at the half with 10. However, Him, not to be proven as weak or perceived as weak, has made a field goal in the process. So far, the score is 9-10. It's a close game. It's a game that probably shouldn't be on prime time, but it is a close game, and all we can hope for is an entertaining second half. What I am hoping for, though, is that Him can somehow claw through, fight for every yard, defeat every fourth and inches scenario, and make a touchdown. Well, we're at the third quarter, and unfortunately, Him has not been able to produce anything on the field whatsoever, and the plot holes have been completely taken advantage of. It's been running through those plot holes and making phenomenal running plays, and unfortunately, that's just spelling bad news for Him. Him is still at 9, and unfortunately, the H.E.C.'s criticisms of the film have scored another major point due to the scene's collapsing logic, and unfortunately, it is not looking good. It is overhanded, heavy-handed symbolism, and it's an obvious message that's getting hidden behind otherwise mid-film so far, and we're not even past towards what I would consider the third act of the film. And that sounds like my language is breaking down, but unfortunately I'm just speaking like this because I'm just devastated, and it's unfortunate what I'm seeing.
Yeah, unfortunately, the H.E.C.'s logic, the H.E.C.'s love of football is already worn off. The H.E.C.'s love of Marlon Wayans is worn off. The H.E.C.'s love of the movie theater aesthetic is worn off. Everything that could have helped this team get a win, and particularly this film, Him, unfortunately has not succeeded. The plot holes have been completely taken advantage of, and that's where more yards have came in. it's trying to put up a defense, though. It's only allowed 1 touchdown in this quarter, which is not too bad. But if it doesn't do anything, and I mean anything, to knock the H.E.C. off his socks, or at least do something that would equate to a touchdown, this is going to be an easy win for the H.E.C. in regards to negative criticism towards this film.
Own logic breaks down, and sadly, the H.E.C.'s criticism and the H.E.C.'s viewing of the film have just demolished this film. Another touchdown was made, numerous plays, easily numerous sacks, and it's just a sad state of affairs. But the final score is going to be 9-24. No other points, not even another field goal has been made by him. It put up what I would assume was a decent fight. It's not a bad film per se, but I think the H.E.C.'s logic and just more or less viewing of the film and trying to understand the film and also questioning some of the decisions made by the film, it just beat up the film at the end of it, and he leaves it with an okay. He's not shitting on the film, but unfortunately, the H.E.C.'s criticism has defeated this film. Once again, the final score is 9-24. We thank you for going inside a mental stadium, though, and we now return to the spoilers of this film.